So yesterday, Dave Rubin did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and it didn't really go that well. So for those of you who don't know, Reddit is like this really popular internet forum, and oftentimes famous people will go to Reddit and they'll be like, you can ask me anything, dudes. I'll answer any fucking question you say. And you're supposed to be a badass and not really dip and dodge questions. I mean, it's an ask me anything. You're supposed to answer whatever the fuck they ask you. Seemed like it kind of wussed out on a lot of it to me. I don't know, you guys can see what you think about it. So you motherfuckers go read this for yourself. I'm not going to read you every word they said. I'm just going to surmise basically what it says for you here. Basically, the first question, the dude's like, hey Dave, why are you letting your really huge popular platform be used to spread bullshit without challenging it? Like the guy who came on your show and said Obama was a communist and you didn't fucking challenge him at all. You just let him say that shit. Why are you spreading misinformation? What the fuck, dude? And Dave basically responds with, hey, I don't want to berate motherfuckers. To which everybody else responded, who the fuck asked you to berate anybody? Just fucking question them when they say stupid bullshit. It's your platform, dude. You don't have to let misinformation be spread on your platform without challenging it. Simply asking follow-up questions and challenging bad ideas is not berating somebody. So like 10 people basically say the same shit. Even the guy that asked the question is like, motherfucker, you didn't even answer my goddamn question. You ain't gotta berate shit. Just ask a follow-up question. But then Dave was like, fuck all y'all. I'm done with this question. Next question. So the next question is like, hey Dave, why don't you invite that guy Sam Setter on your show? I mean, you're always asking for liberals to come on your fucking show, dude. Here's a liberal that has questions for you that wants to challenge you. Why don't you bring him on your show? Apparently, Sam Setter runs the Majority Report, has, in my opinion, some seemingly valid criticism of Dave Rubin. But Dave Rubin's ducking and dodging him. And it's the same here in his Reddit AMA. He didn't even answer the question. He completely ignored the second most asked question. So he skips that question, goes to the next question. Next question is basically like, hey, dude, you remember when you said if Trump got elected, you'd be the first one to hold his feet to the fire? And now you ain't held his feet to the fire worth the goddamn. You haven't held his feet to the fire at all. No matter what that motherfucker's done, you've turned your back and looked the other way. If you claim to be some sort of new sinner, shouldn't you attack both sides pretty equally at least? Attacking one side only doesn't seem like a sinner to me. Of course, he didn't really say all that shit. I paraphrased just a little bit. And basically, Rubin's response is pretty batshit crazy if you ask me. As for what he has done so far, I haven't seen much worth going crazy over, so I've tried to stay even killed. Talking about fucking Trump. Hasn't seen much worth going crazy over. You know, $1 trillion in cuts to the poor, $1 trillion in tax cuts to the super rich, deregulating Wall Street, putting a climate change denier in the EPA, increasing private prison funding for marijuana smokers, selling off the Department of Education to a crazy Christian billionaire who wants to give $100 billion in subsidies to Christian schools, gutting global warming initiatives and accelerating the harm of climate change. Like, seriously, motherfucker, what would it take with you? But then he goes on to say, I think the issues of postmodernism and the left are much bigger danger to the future of Western civilization. Oh my fucking God! The right wing has resurrected this new boogeyman called postmodern leftist to scare you with. You see, Alex Jones has the Illuminati. That's what he uses as the shadowy force that runs everything and makes everybody's lives terrible. That's what he uses to scare you with. But now these guys like Dave Rubin have to explain away why they only attack the left. So they have to create this new boogeyman to scare you guys with. And so they're resurrecting this old boogeyman, postmodern leftist. They're really in charge, y'all. They're the ones fucking all our shit up. No, motherfucker. Postmodern leftists are not taking 20 million people's healthcare away from them. Postmodern leftists aren't cutting $1 trillion from the poor. Postmodernists are not trying to deregulate Wall Street so they can continue to do the behavior that almost crashed our economy 8 years ago. Postmodernists ain't fucking in charge of shit. What are you even talking about? Get the fuck out of my face with this made up boogeyman shit. The greatest danger to our society are these motherfuckers in power right now. The conservatives have every fucking branch of our government, the vast majority of the governorships in this country, the vast majority of the state legislatures, and you're worried about motherfucking postmodernists? And he bills himself as a liberal. Like, it's just so stupid. I just can't fucking even with this shit. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna calm down. Needless to say, they did not like his answer. They're like, but you said you would be the first to hold his feet to the fire. It's inconceivable that you don't think he's done a single thing worth criticizing since entering office. I'm sorry to say, but this strikes me as intellectual cowardice. And that's not what it is at all, folks. What this is all about is about fucking money, okay? Dave Rubin was a liberal when he was on the Young Turks, but then he saw this niche of being an anti-SJW, this niche of attacking the left. He saw how well other people were doing by primarily using their platform to attack the left, while giving the right an almost complete pass. And in doing this type of format, he's built a large conservative fan base that he does not want to piss off. Shit, on Patreon alone, this dude's making $30,000 a month. And you find the same thing with a lot of these channels who use their platform to primarily attack the left while giving the right a free pass. Somebody is funding the shit out of these people. So people like Dave Rubin actually have a really good reason not to piss off his right-wing fan base. They literally pay him not to. I mean, tell the truth, a lot of you would do exactly the same thing. If you were being paid $30,000 a month to pretend to be a liberal while you actually attack them and help conservatives take power, then a lot of you would fucking do it too, and that's all he's really doing here. And a lot of people picked up on this, and that's why he's taking a lot of the flack he's taking. He won't answer this, but I think you know the answer. He's cashing in his credibility for the right-wing audience. Nah, that would cut off the hand that feeds, aka the sweet, sweet Patreon money from the anti-SJW crowd online. Somebody else asked, did this guy ever have any credibility? And they're like, yeah, there's a brief time when he left the Young Turks. People were optimistic that he might actually go produce really good content. But that optimism only lasted about 2 months. Everybody pretty much figured out he's going to jump on the anti-SJW, bash liberals all day while you get the right of pass thing. And I mean, in his defense, it is the popular new thing. It is going to make him tons of fucking money doing this. But integrity ain't cheap. And one thing that kind of bugs me about all these guys is they say the reason they don't attack Trump is because everybody else is doing it. Everybody's fucking attacking Trump. Well, everybody else is making social justice warrior videos too. That's not fucking stopping you. And the truth is, everybody else is not fucking attacking Trump. Yes, you turn on CNN or MSNBC. Yeah, a lot of those channels are attacking Trump. But you know, Fox News is still the #1 news channel in the world. Not to mention, the right almost completely owns talk radio, which is a fucking huge segment of the media. And even more than that, guys like Dave Rubin, guys like Sargon, all this new media online that focuses primarily on attacking the left while giving the right a pass, are actually a lot fucking more trusted these days than the old media. The old media is dead. Nobody believes that shit anymore. Nobody listens anymore. But the new media is very much still trusted. You guys are still very much trusted. And not only that, but there's plenty of crazy shit that right is doing that has absolutely nothing to do with Trump. Watch some of my videos. I cover this shit constantly. The right is doing so much fucking crazy shit, and very little of the media is covering it. So if you want to claim that you're not attacking Donald Trump because everybody else is doing it, then fine. But there are lots of right-wing issues you could attack that not everybody else is attacking. And you're still not attacking those issues. You're still primarily focusing on attacking the left, which shows you're very fucking partisan. And the other argument they love to give is the reason we only attack the left is because we're trying to help the left to win again. Well, motherfucker, look, Donald Trump only won by 80,000 votes spread across 3 states. You guys are getting millions and millions of YouTube views. But instead of holding the right accountable for anything, you guys helped to create this social justice warrior hysteria. Actually blowing these annoying assholes out of proportion to what they are, making them seem like a much bigger threat than they actually fucking are. You guys have decided to serve as a distraction while the right takes power. And to be honest, it's not really that fucking helpful. Anyway, pretty much everybody shits on him after that question. The next question is basically, why do you keep calling yourself a liberal when it's pretty obvious you're not one? And he's basically like, yeah, The next question they ask him is, you have called the New York Times, CNN, BBC, and more fake news when you disagree with them, saying you won't even watch CNN as long as they employ Reza Aslan. You are more than happy to appear on the Alex Jones show, however, a man who makes his living out of lying. So what the fuck up with that? Number 2, you said you'd be the first to hold Trump's feet to the fire, and you ain't done it. What the fuck's up with that? And number 3, when Bill O'Reilly was fired from Fox News for being a serial sexual harasser, the only comment you made was about how sad it was that we rejoice at the destruction of public people. When Kathy Griffin was fired for making a bad joke, you rejoiced on Twitter, saying her show sucked anyway. Why didn't you choose to defend her right to free speech? And he's like, I want Alex Jones to talk in his live show about liberalism and hopefully get some of his audience to come on my show and learn a thing or two. Actually, I know it worked because I got a bunch of email about it. Yeah, dude, you totally went on Alex Jones' show to promote liberalism. Or did you go on a show to talk about how bad liberalism is? And do nothing but talk shit about it under the cover that you're trying to fix it somehow. You went on Alex Jones' show because you and him have a lot in common. You both put out a product that primarily attacks the left while giving the right a pass. And you fucking know it. Why even lie about it? The reason you don't call him fake news and you call all those other outlets fake news is because he's your boy. You and Alex Jones have the exact same goal. It's the same reason Alex Jones gave Sargon a shout out live on his show and basically offered him a job. It's because basically all you guys are in the same space. You're doing the same thing. Attacking the social justice warriors and the left and distracting from the real issues while the right wing takes power. And being paid handsomely to do so, I might add. And it's really obvious to see why the rich would want to fund these guys. I mean, they're the new media. New media is very important. New media is actually trusted, and they're the ones helping the rich people hold on to their money. They're the ones making people hate the left and much more likely to vote for the right, who would then turn around and give billions in tax cuts to the rich. While Dave Rubin is reaping his $30,000 a month from Patreon, the over $1 trillion the government is cutting from the poor won't affect him at all. So why should he ever talk about it? Why should he even acknowledge it? But never forget, he's a liberal. And then his response to the Trump question was, I think his presidency has basically been fine, but it's impossible to grade because of the nonstop hysteria. Seriously, what the fuck kind of liberal thinks Trump is doing fine? And what kind of person, liberal or otherwise, is so fucking spineless they can't grade what Trump is doing because of the hysteria? It doesn't seem to be stopping you from grading what social justice warriors do constantly, despite the hysteria which you contribute to. I mean, this motherfucker. And then people are like, really? It's impossible to fucking grade Trump. Then what fucking use are you? I mean, I know what he's saying sounds stupid, folks, but believe me, there's a really good reason for it. Really good. Then they ask him once again to allow Sam Cedar to come on his show. Apparently, Rubin made up some kind of bullshit reason he didn't want to let him on the show. Apparently, Rubin's pissed off that one of Cedar's friends said something negative about him, so he's not going to let Cedar come on the show for that reason. That's obviously a bullshit excuse to keep from getting your ass handed to you. And then somebody asked Dave why he said that he thinks if Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive these days, he'd be a conservative. And he's like, judging a man by the content of his character, not the color of his skin, is a conservative platform these days. Bull fucking shit it is. Look, Dave Rubin, I know you want to paint the entire left with the brush of the extremists. Well, if you can do that, then I can paint the entire right with the brush of the KKK, which negates what you said about this being a conservative position. But of course, I wouldn't do that. I would never paint the entire right with the brush of the extremist, because it's incredibly unfair and cheap to do that. This is just another example of him trying to shill for conservatism. So then they ask him again, you often are quick to criticize liberal news outlets such as Vox and BuzzFeed as being biased and partisan. Will you put InfoWars and Breitbart in the same category? And he gets the dumbest fucking answer. I don't have them listed in specific categories, but places like Vox and BuzzFeed are generally thought of as cool and reliable and mainstream. So telling people that they aren't what they seem is important. Mainstream slams Breitbart and InfoWars all day long. So basically he's saying, no man, I'm not gonna call it InfoWars and Breitbart because the mainstream is already calling them out. I don't do anything if the mainstream does it. What are you, 12? Obviously all four, Vox, BuzzFeed, Prison Planet, and Breitbart, are all partisan sources. The fact that you're making up an excuse not to just say that is very telling. And they're like, I don't understand. Why can't you just say yes? You really don't think you can take a clear stance on InfoWars being as bad or worse than Vox? It's worse. That one got a lot of likes. Yeah, motherfucker. I mean, obviously. Why do you keep claiming you can't take a stance when it comes to the right? I don't know. Maybe there's 29,116 reasons every month. Let the shield shine through, Dave. And they're like, ask them, but your beef with the mainstream is that they're relentlessly partisan. Isn't it hypocritical to associate with outlets that are equally partisan? And of course, he dodges the question completely, doesn't answer anymore, goes on the next question. So anyway, this video's gone on longer than I meant it to, so I'm going to end it there. But a really interesting AMA, if you guys want to read it, I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. Dave Rubin just pretty much gets his ass handed to him here. And look, folks, I don't really give a shit what labels he calls himself. Don't matter to fucking me. I feel about Dave Rubin exactly as I feel about the transgenders. He can label himself any fucking thing he wants. I don't give a shit. I just read the AMA and thought it was funny how poorly he did. People see right through what he's doing and want him to stop being fake. And he's constantly getting called out for it in public now, and it's just funny to me. And it was him that actually brought this to my attention to begin with. Apparently, Mother Jones wrote an article last week cashing in on the rise of the alt-right. It's actually a pretty interesting article. It follows this guy, Cal Chapman, who basically goes out to Antifa events and is violent towards them. Basically tries to get a mob together and go out and bully Antifa. And he's built a name for himself online doing this, and he's actually making his living online doing this now, people supporting him doing this. Rubin got all butthurt that this article pointed out that he makes $30,000 a month by pretty much trashing the left and giving the right a pass. And also primarily featuring right-wing guests. I think somebody added him up and something like 80% of his guests are right-wing. And even when he has liberals on there, usually they're on there to talk some shit about the left for some reason. So Mother Jones pointed all this out, and Rubin got really butthurt and talked about there even might be a lawsuit. Somebody threatening to sue because they got called the wrong label. Where have I heard that one before? Anyway, I used to not watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I started watching Rubin a couple months ago, and I don't have any beef with him either way. That is just my honest critique of the situation. And who knows, I could be completely wrong about this entire situation. To not admit that would not be logic. Fuck yes. Hey guys, Dusty Smith here, and as you can see, the kitties are getting bigger. Those of you who remember from last month, we rescued these kitties from a storm drain. If you like my show, please consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com. My Patreons are really the only reason my channel still exists, and all the donations I get on my Patreon channel go to support the Humanist Society of Mississippi Animal Sanctuary, where we help out cute guys like this. So if you can help out, please do it. Thanks a lot.